Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Kwegyir, as Mr. Benjamin also just said. We have been friends way back from school. And I'm very happy today to share my experience with everyone who have joined us and those of us who may watch this video later on. As he said, I'm a well-known watercolorist in Ghana and also in the world. And once again, I'm happy to share my experience with everyone. Today, we are going to learn about watercolor and tools and materials, techniques in watercolor, and then we'll do some simple demonstrations in watercolor. So when we talk about watercolor, as the name implies, it's just a water and a color. The tools and materials can be very simple to more complicated. Watercolor has been in the system for a very long time, but many artists are a bit scared. Some also don't have the confidence to practice it because it takes a lot of practice and a lot of challenge in order to understand how to work with watercolors. Aside all of this, the moment you're able to go through all the challenges and you understand how the medium works, it will be very much easier to paint a subject more complicated in less than a minute, because you have been able to understand how to summarize your subject. So without much ado, let's look at what watercolor is about. So we have the watercolor paint. And this paint is being sponsored by Mission Gold for me as one of their ambassadors from South Korea. It is manufactured in South Korea. And it is available in any art shop around the world. So these are the colors. This is how it comes in a tube form. So we have the tube form. So all you need to do is to open it and then you press it onto your palette. That is your watercolor palette. They also have another form of watercolor paint that comes in a pan type. So it comes in a pan like this. In each compartment, you have the colors. So this type, it has a lot of advantage. The tube one also have some advantages, but they are all good because when you have the pan type, even when it dries, all you need is to just put water on it and then you are good to go. The same way, when you have the tube type and it gets dry, all you just have to do is to take out the lead around it and you put some water and you are good to go. The only difference is that most artists prefer the moist texture or the consistency that the tube one gives because it's very fresh. And the moment you put it on your palette, it is very easy to dilute without much stress. Also, you are also able to determine the consistency you want to have on your work. So these are the two types of watercolor paint, and all you need is just water, no any other chemical, just water. So The next step, yeah, so back to the paint. The paint can be very simple, like this one, which is measured just 12 centimeters by almost 5.5, or let's say 6. And this type is very easy when you are traveling or when you are going out to do outdoor sketch and you don't want so many materials to carry around. And for watercolor, you don't need so much space or materials to work with watercolors. This particular type of watercolor pan that I have, which I used, it fits into my pocket and it has a brush inside it. It also has a water container. This is it, which is connected here, like a spray. And then it also has a water bottle fixed to it. So this is the water bottle. And at the same time, the water bottle is also a palette, as you can see in the mixing area. And then it also have an extra palette space, which is also easy to flip and close, which is attached to it. It also have additional extra palettes also. And then you have your paint area in each department here. In addition to that, it also has a small brush also attached to it. So all the things you need in watercolor has nicely been designed in a mini sizable device. So it's as simple as if so if you have this, it even also comes with the foam to clean the brush. So all you need is just this. You are good to go. If you want to produce a watercolor outdoors or even indoors, all you need is just this, and all your studio is in your pocket. Now, if you want to work more big with watercolors, the size you want to work on also determines the kind of material. It means that you need more bigger materials. So for example, this palette, which is also being sponsored and made by Mission Gold, Mijello in South Korea, it is a very big size studio palette with about 50 plus 5 compartments to hold your colors. So it is called the studio palette. It is very big, and the size is that's 36 centimeters or 14 inches by 22 or 9 inches. So it has a lot of space to hold different colors of your choice with a bigger mixing space area, as you can see. As you can see. So the palettes are mostly plastic. This is also another palette, which I've been using most of the time. It's very simple. When you finish, you just close it. There is also another palette here. This palette is made of metal, but it also has a compartment for putting your paint. So basically, when you are going for outdoor, you don't need so much. Depending on the size you can carry, from the smallest, like A5 size, to as big as you want. Now let's look the next material, which is the brushes for watercolor. We have the flat type. We also have another flat type, which is very easy to find in any art shop. We also have the squirrel type. These are very soft. Some comes with natural hair. Some also are synthetic, depending which one you can afford. And then there's also this round type brush. We have the flat type, small size. And then these are the Chinese type for their calligraphy, which is also extremely very good for watercolor paintings. And then you can have the small ones like this for small details when doing watercolors. And then we have this one, which is 6 inches big. That is, if you graduate to a higher level in watercolor and you want to do something like 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet size of watercolor or 4, I have been able to do 8 feet size, 8 by 4 feet watercolor size. So these are the brushes I use when doing an extremely big size watercolor painting. So the brushes they have different types, but the most important one is to get a flat brush and some few round brushes, and you are good to go. And then we look to the next material, which is the paper, the watercolor paper. Watercolor paper comes in 2 types generally. We have the block type, which comes in the forms like this, like a sketch pad, but you see that it will have a glue at the edge of the spine all over the 4 sides of the sketch pad. So what happens is that when you finish the page that you are working on, the moment you finish, you peel it off when the work is done. So the moment you peel it off, a fresh paper also comes continuously until the book is finished. So basically, that is the sketchpad type. And then we have the main paper, which I ordered from UK. I mostly get some of the papers from China, and also when I travel, then I put it in my suitcase. Now, this paper is called Sundar's Waterford watercolor paper. they have other brands like Arches. Those are the brands. We have Arches, we have Fabriano, we have Sundos Waterford, we have Buckingford, we have Wuhan, which is made in China. We have Kansun, so many brands of watercolor paper. But the important thing is that watercolor paper, regardless of whichever brand of watercolor paper you decide to buy, what you need to look for is that watercolor papers comes in 3 different types. The first one is hot press, the second one is cold press, and the last one is rough. These are the surfaces in which watercolor paper is finished from the factory. So if you look at this one is Sundos Waterford. CP means cold press or not, which is written here. And then it is made of 100% cotton, mold made, acid free. So what you need to look for when you are looking at the texture is either you buy the rough if you want more texture on the surface. If you don't want so much texture, you buy the cold press. And for illustration, watercolor illustration, you buy the hot press, which doesn't have any texture or less texture on the surface. But for me, I mostly use either the cold press or rough because of depending on the subject I am working on. And then another thing to look out for is the gram of the paper. All this information, you can find it either when you are buying the booklets or the sketch pad or the sheet. All these informations are there, and you need to take note of that so that you don't buy the wrong one that will not suit your choice. But all of this comes after different trials, different number of consistency you have been practicing watercolor. You get to understand more of the materials and which one works best for you. So this kind of papers, they are largely 56 by 76. Inches is 22 by 30 inches. And it comes in 10 sheets in a pack. And it's about $50 for a pack like this. So what you just need to know is that you need to know the brand, the gram you are buying, and then the texture, either the hot, rough, or cold press, depending what you are going to do or what works best for you. And the sizes also comes in the sheet form or the rolled one. There's a rolled watercolor paper, which can be measured about 1,000 centimeters long by 4 feet. So as you advance in watercolor, you get to know more about the materials and what it entails. So basically, there are other subsequent tools that you may need or accessories. For instance, is the board. A board, a thick plywood, which you need to stretch the watercolor paper on. But if you are working with the sketch pad type, you don't necessarily need the board. It's just optional, depending on how you work. But if you are using the sheet type, you need a board, a very thick plywood, sizable that you can easily lift and control it. So you need a board. And then you may need a blade, masking fluid, basically anything, salt, whatever, that can give you the results you are looking for. Some people use sandpaper to scratch here, blade, knife to scratch somewhere, a lot. Also, you may need a spray can like this, which has a water. No chemical, basically just water for all the mixing, the spraying, everything is just water. So this bottle has water inside, no chemical, just clean water. And then the other material you may also need is a container or a bowl like this to put your water in when you are working, for cleaning the brush, for mixing the paint. You need a container like this. And this particular container is also made by Mission Gold in South Korea, which I am their ambassador, one of them in Africa. And this is a very foldable container. When you are traveling, if I pour the water away, I can just press it and it becomes flat. Everything will collapse and it becomes flat to put in your suitcase or when you are packing to paint outdoor. So basically, this is the tools and materials for watercolor. As you continue to develop your skills, as you continue to watch more videos, as you continue to read more, either on YouTube or also 360 Learning Center, you'll get to know more about watercolor. And for me, this will be the best platform for you to learn watercolor directly from someone from the African perspective. Because I have gone through a lot living in this part of the world. Watercolor is not so familiar here. And for almost 20 years now, I have been researching and practicing. All that I do is on watercolor. So I am giving you the easiest way for you to go through your watercolor journey. We'll be doing more and more of this video as time goes on. We'll also do some flashback. We'll also create a segment that will answer all your questions regarding any of the topic that we are going to be treating in order to help you to master your watercolor. So the next one we are moving on is techniques in watercolor. There are a lot of the techniques in watercolor, and I am going to demonstrate some of the technique to explain it for you to understand it more. So, as I mentioned, you need the paint. So this paint has been a little dried. So what I do is that I spray on it to resurrect it. It's very simple, just spray on it and everything looks fresh and wet. So that's it. And then just the brush, and then the paper. So what I'm going to do is to show you the types of some of the technique. So the first technique is the flat wash. Flat wash. So with the flat wash, what it means is that you just mix your paint, and then you apply it on the surface. So for the flash wash technique, that is what we normally use it to when painting the skies especially. What you can also do when doing a flat wash is that you can pre-wet the surface of the paper with clean water. And then whilst it is drying, all you do is that you drop in the color, and then you could see the water dropping by itself, creating the natural flow effects. So these techniques are very good when doing skies or broader areas. So most of the techniques I learned in watercolors are most falls under the flat wash, whereby you just apply the color, and then you can do your graded wash by adding another color, and then you see the two colors emerging or blending into each other. And for this technique, it is very good when you are doing the sky as well, and also when putting in your first washes or paint, depending on which subject you are creating. So a lot of the techniques evolve around these flat washes. And sometimes, while the paint is drying, you can put in a clean water and you see some reactions happening on the paper. So those are called accidentals in watercolor. And if you look at this work, which I'm still working on, you could see some accidental effects that are used. And for the sky, as I mentioned, you could see it here in the work. Okay. Now, so most of the techniques in watercolor all evolve around this application of flat washes. A graded wash and it is areas in watercolor on your painting. Some areas needs to be flash. Now, another technique which is so distinct and distinguished by itself is dry brush. The dry brush technique. This dry brush technique, it simply means that you apply it when the surface of the paper is still dry. No water around it. It's dry. Maybe if you are painting and then you want to do a dry brush, you have to wait for the paper to dry. You have to wait for the paint on the paper to dry before you apply dry brush. So for the surface to dry first, or the paint on the surface to dry first. Now, I'm going to do a dry brush. So when they say a dry brush, it means that depending on the consistency of the effect that you want, normally the nip of the brush needs to be dry or a little wet, just a little. And then you put it in the water and then you clean the brush with your tissue. So you pick the paint and you don't add water or less water to the pigment, and then you scratch it. You see? So this technique has less water inside. You see, this is a dry brush technique. And when you do a dry brush technique, the color stays, they don't move around. And this technique is good for when you are finishing off a painting, like doing electric pose in painting, the figures, highlights, and all of that, they all fall under the dry brush technique. The figures, you see, like this. Like a figure walking, holding a bag. All you need is this. Then you can give it some shadow. And you are done. Another technique is wet in wet, which simply means that when you apply your paint and while the paint is wet, you put in another color and then to emerge into each other. So this technique is called wet in wet. For wet in wet, you the artist, you have less control over what happens on the surface. You allow the colors to do their thing, emerging into each other, and you can add one or two or more colors into it to create the desirable effects that you like or you are pleased with. So the rest are all what you can do either with pen and wash. You are free. If you understand these basics, you are free to start practicing on your watercolor. So there will going to be a segment whereby I'll give some room for questions and answers. And as you can see here, some of the accidentals that create nice effects in watercolor is this technique. You see the color running, leaving some impressive marks. Some people call it a cauliflower in watercolor. So I am going to create a very simple watercolor painting. And in our next topic, we are going to do more of advanced watercolor painting after you have gotten a vivid understanding of the basics, techniques, the basic tools in watercolor. And then we're going to do some simple and more advanced studies as we progress with this lesson on watercolor painting. So I'm going to use a fresh page, and then I'm going to create a very simple subject that we can paint in watercolor. So let's say maybe a simple banana.
Yeah, it's good.
So this is a simple sketch of a banana, and then you mix your paint, you apply it, and once you are applying it, be free. Allow yourself to be free.
Yo, it's good. Your camera is off.
So you see, I'm using wet and wet technique.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, your camera is off.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
My video is on. Benjamin? Hello, Benjamin. Benjamin.
Hello, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you. I see you in the video.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's just me. I will go ahead and leave and join back. Okay.
Okay, so whilst the paint is still wet, you are free to drop in colors after you have gotten the base of the banana, you know, yellow ochre, yellows, and all of that. You are free. And then, depending how you feel or you understand, all of this, you can create some shadows and allow the colors to emerge. The beauty of watercolor is allowing the color to flow. Don't restrict yourself, don't be too careful, because it's all part of the feeling of the moment when you are creating watercolor.
Okay, I can see you now.
When you want the paint to dry fast, because you are working with speed, what you can do is to blow it. I have one here, but I don't want to use it right now. So if you are in a hurry and you want to work very fast, you just use the hair dryer, and then you just spray, go over it with the hot air coming out, and to dry it in few seconds. And that is very good when you are teaching or doing demonstrations like this for students. Yeah, but I wanted to have the natural feeling of the drying, which it won't take long. So whilst I'm waiting for the first layers of the paint to dry, I can still do some areas whilst I allow some of the areas to dry. Already this area is getting dry. This area is getting dry. So as I proceed on, so now I can start to add some dark shadows to my banana. And basically, it just needs to be free. Don't be afraid. Okay, can sprinkle some effects of the paint on it. Also, you don't need to overwork your watercolor because it makes it dead. So it's better you allow the natural feel of the water to do its own thing and it dries off, and that's it. I'm still tempted to add some few browns here and there. Depending on how you like, you can do the background or you just leave it like this and you are done with your watercolor. If you still want to play around, you don't play too much so that you don't spoil your painting. Just keeping it fresh. It's as simple as that. Have your banana. And then sign off. When it dries off, you are ready to frame your first watercolor. Thank you very much. Benjamin.
Hello. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Welcome.
I think you open the floor for our dear guest if he has any question about the topic. Mr. Akinosoya.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Please, do you have any question? Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah. So in the beginning, you said if you want to activate the paint again, you have to spray it with water, right?
Yes. Yes.
So what happens if you spray too much water?
The moisture becomes so much that you may lose the texture of the paint, depending on which type you are using. When you are using the tube type, like this one, this is the tube type, and
Yeah.
it is all moist. It's already moist.
Oh, so those ones never get dry.
Those never get dry, except for a
Okay.
very long time. It gets
Okay.
dried in. And even if that happens, you can destroy the coverlet and then you put water on it, it will still be able to work back again for you. But
Okay.
if you're in the pan type, this is the pan type. This type has a container and the colors in the compartment. So when it gets dry, you sprinkle water. You get a spray bottle like this is very common to find in any shop. Then you just sprinkle water on it. It will resurrect back the colors.
Okay. So I have one more question. Do you have any recommendation where I can get more paint? Right now, I only have 10 paints.
Okay. Since you are in America, you can easily get online. Cheap Joe's Art Supply has tons of art supplies. Jackson Art Supplies. I can send the links to Mr. Benjamin. There are millions of art supply all over US, and watercolor is the most easiest to buy. Even Da Vinci, you can get it from Da Vinci in California. You can easily get. They used to sponsor my paints that I use, but right now I have Mission Gold from South Korea. They are the one that supplies the paint I use as a brand ambassador. Yeah, so it's very easy.
Okay. One more thing. Can you show your picture one more time so I can take a screenshot? I will try and recommend my friends so they can come join. Okay, give me a second. And I think I got it. Okay. Thank you very much.
More of other stuff that I have done. Just a minute, let me show you more of the other works I do. So that those are our next lesson. So you can take a screenshot a minute.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me just take a picture. Thank you.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just took it. Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay, I got it. Okay.
And then breathe.
Wow. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So you can get through Mr. Benjamin. I can send more through Mr. Benjamin to forward to all the participants, more of my works, my page, everything to get to learn more about watercolor. So please feel free if you have any further question, I'll be glad to assist.
Yeah. Do you guys have a domain?
Yeah, Mr. Benjamin is working on the domain, which is going to have all these recordings and all the playbacks constantly 247 at your disposal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, currently I'll be posting this external access on usu360.com. So it will be available there. Yes.
Can you put that link in the chat so I can click on it?
Okay.
Thank you. And your painting is very good. Have you ever thought about like selling it?
Selling it?
Yes.
I am a well-recognized watercolorist in the world, and I sell my painting all over the world. I even have my paintings in the museums in China and many parts of it. So it's nothing new.
Yeah. I am new here, so I didn't know.
Okay. I do sell a lot of my works. Even people in America buy most of my paintings all over the world. Yeah, and I also exhibit in many parts of the world, traveling to different countries and the rest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I will make sure to see what I can do and join back next time you guys are hosting a event like this. And I think that will be a hit for today. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you too for joining us.
No problem, no problem.
Okay. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time and then taking us through this particular session. I've really learned a lot today, even though I was in the same room with you, but there are a lot of things that I've learned today. Yeah, thank you so much. So I think our next schedule will be next month. So we plan to organize that as well. And we'll keep on to do this particular work. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.